What is going on, you guys? It's your host, Galadon. It's time for Clash Royale balance changes. Yes, the Elite Barbarian nerf, or the alternative title that didn't quite fit in the YouTube line. I told you so, but then you knew it too. Who are we kidding? Of course they had to be nerfed. They've been completely broken and overused since the last balance buff, and this is already long overdue. I probably could just end the episode now, but I'll cover the other changes as long as I'm here. So let's get right into it. Elite Barbarians will lose 4% of their hit points. But wait, that's not all, of course. They are also going to see a damage reduction of 4% and a hit speed change from 1.4 to 1.5 seconds. The hit speed slightly slower, and yes, thank you, Yarn from Orange Juice. The net DPS decrease from this change, 10.5%. And of course, you guys, I'm assuming, have either come over here and you've already seen his video, or you'll go check it out next. Definitely a solid place to check out the balance changes and updates as well. Now, is this going to be enough to reduce the overuse and overpowered feeling of Elite Barbarians? I'm going to go out on a limb and say yes. A DPS decrease of over 10%, I really feel like this is going to bring them in line with some of the other cards. Now, they're still going to be strong. Don't get me wrong, I think they'll still be a very strong card, just not nearly as strong as they were before. Slightly less hit points, much less damage, well, it's all relative. 10%, 10.5%, I think it's enough. But again, like everything else, we'll just have to wait and see exactly how much it changes, because there are other balance changes coming as well. Next up, the Zap spell. Now, this was the most used card in the game for a long time. Everybody bringing Zap, so it just kind of feels like it had to come sooner or later. And it's 6%, so a loss of 6% in damage to the Zap spell is a significant buff for goblins, because the Zap spell will no longer one-shot goblins. Get ready, goblins, across the board, seeing a buff from this change to the Zap spell, and maybe we'll see a resurgence in other cards like arrows and the log. But the news isn't all good for our beloved legendary card, the log. Hashtag love the log. Apparently not that much, because the log is seeing a damage reduction of 4%, and its knockback effect is being reduced. So the log will not knock back other units as far as it did before. Get ready for that. The log, slightly less powerful, but still may see more use simply because of the nerf to Zap. Now, next up to get hit with the nerf bat is going to be the Mega Minion. It is going to lose 4% of the damage that it does, and also, like our friend the Elite Barbarians, it is going to have a hit speed reduction from 1.4 to 1.5 seconds. It's small, but it's going to add to that reduction of damage that the Mega Minion puts out, and could reduce the number of times we're seeing it out on the battlefield. Next up for changes, a card that I don't even own yet. Yes, the Electro Wizard, a big one, added 9% in hit points, but the spawn damage down 6%. I'm going to call this overall a definite buff for the Electro Wizard, and I'm actually thinking about maybe buying some super magical chests in a future stream or episode to make sure that I unlock that, at least for future challenges. All right, next up, the Ice Golem. It is going to lose 5% of its hit points, and another big change. Death damage, the radius will be smaller, and the slow duration reduced. So the overused Ice Golem also seeing a nerf right there. I really felt like some of the most used cards in the game. Mega Minion, Ice Golem, Elite Barbs, and Zap. Those 4 cards made up so many different decks. It's actually kind of nice to see all of these cards nerfed and maybe other cards brought into line. Oh, and speaking of course, we've got the Ice Spirit. It is going to see a nerf. That little tiny 1 elixir card, so popular, losing 10% of the damage that it puts out. That is going to be enough to make the Ice Spirit slightly less useful in a lot of decks. And last but not least for the balance changes, an underused card, the Wizard, and a big change. The range of the Wizard has been increased by half a tile. This doesn't seem like a lot at first, but watch the Wizard in action and you're going to see that added range is going to make a huge difference in how effective the Wizard's splash damage is in battles. And that right there will wrap up the coming Clash Royale update balance changes, you guys. I feel like there is a lot of changes on the way we're going to see. Hopefully, again, like I say over and over again, more of a diversity in decks. That's really always what the balance changes are trying to do, to make the least used cards more frequently used and the most overused cards maybe make them just a little bit weaker so you don't see them all the time. Now, in the meantime, we're seeing some huge success, at least in my clan. Okay, at least from everybody else but me, from what it seems like, in full attack. These guys playing the draft challenge and doing a great job. I mean, honestly, you guys, the draft challenge is a true test of skill in Clash Royale. The ability to overcome these really unusual decks, to be assigned random cards like this. Now, of course, there is a certain amount of luck involved in the draw, in that you may have the ability to screw over your opponent by giving him all sorts of awful cards. Maybe you can give him a bunch of tanks, give him a bunch of small, low elixir cards. There's usually some strategy. You've got to really take a lot of things into consideration when you're handing over cards. It's not just what you want, it's what you don't want, or what you know your opponent's going to be forced to be stuck with in his hand. So Tom DeBeast 567 doing a great job. He's got the 3 Musketeers with that ugly middle deployment. That is just so hard to stop, and sure enough, they wipe out the tower right as time is counting down. Tom throws up the good game, and the opponent's not so happy. So Tom with a 12-0 win in the draft challenge amongst a lot of full attack players, again, having a lot of success. And here is Severo Albarca. I probably screwed that name up. And I really like the way these replays show you the selection process. You can see what decisions these guys made when they're thinking about what to keep and what to give away. Right here, Severo is trying to decide, does he want that Golem or not? He's like, I don't know what to do. Finally, he gives the Golem up, and he's going to tie his opponent's hands a little bit, having that big giant tank card, and he knows that he has the other cards to counter it, like the Inferno Dragon and the Minion Horde. So maybe it was the fact that he had those 2 cards that are great counters to the Golem that he gave it up and chose to keep the Valkyrie, which honestly I feel right now at high level it's really not that often used. Maybe down at lower levels it's a really useful card, but up at higher levels, even in tournament challenge standards, I feel like you don't see that many Valkyries right now. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a very, very slight buff to the Valkyrie, maybe to the Tesla, to the Dark Prince in future updates, simply because those are some cards that you really don't see that often once you get out of about Arena 6 or so. All right, so we're down into the final 2 minutes of this draft challenge, and as you can see on the right, yes, Severo is going to win this one, but I wanted to throw that up there just so that people could see that these guys are just owning this thing right now. So many 11 and 12 win replays being posted in full attack. Super proud of my guys over in FA, even if I can't seem to get past like 4 or 5 wins, but it's okay. You guys are free to leave comments down below in the videos, usually in the ones where I include my gameplay, that talk about how badly I play. I really don't mind. It's understood. In fact, so one of these days, I'm going to give Cam Sucks at Gaming a run for who sucks worse. I think that's the collab that Cam and I need to do. Who actually sucks worse? And we'll have a challenge to see who can lose. Well, I'll figure that one out later. Anyway, so Severo on the move. He's got the witch moving forward. I love the timing of that witch. The skeletons crawled right in front of the tower at just the perfect moment to stop that musketeer from doing any damage. Now he keeps on trying to sneak in the Inferno Dragon, and his opponent just barely keeping the Inferno Dragon off that tower time and time again, until right now, and the Inferno Dragon is going to absolutely drain the hit points like a vampire. And that tower has been bled out. It is gone. Severo has taken the 1-0 lead with 45 seconds left. Now he just has to defend. He throws the witch down the right lane, so he's ready to make an offensive move down that right lane should it become necessary. But he's got that Inferno Dragon, a great counter to the Golem. He puts it down. There it goes. The Inferno Dragon going to work on the Golem. The Zap spell only going to temporarily stop things. Golem into Golemites. Tesla working. Time less than 20 seconds at this point. The Dark Prince is going to smash the Princess. She is down, and it looks like this one is going to end in another victory. Well, okay, we knew that. It doesn't look like it. It definitely was. 4. There it is. Good game. Good manners, because he didn't say anything else other than good game. And, oh, okay. All right, you guys. That is going to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. Let me know what you guys think of these coming balance changes. It is going to be a wild one in the coming days and weeks for Clash Royale. Thank you guys, as always, for watching all the way to the end of this video. I appreciate every last one of you guys. I appreciate you sharing your time with me. I hope I made it worth your while. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And until tomorrow, get out there and make every attack a full attack. You didn't make it worth my while. How about $20 and we call it even?